The ex-CIA man who blew the lid off America's vast NSA public surveillance nets, promising more explosive revelations. Edward Snowden supporters are mobilizing too, with tens of thousands signing a petition to pardon the whistleblower. With us now, a man who knows what it's like to blow the whistle in a big-time way and incur the wrath of Washington at the same time. Julian Assange. He joined us on broadband from the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Julian, thank you ever so much for taking the time to be with us. Much appreciated. And thanks for hanging on the line there for a few minutes as well. First thing to you, really, I guess, what does it feel like? What do you feel like when you've seen this news that's come out about Mr. Snowden over the last couple of days? I guess you empathise, yeah?
Well, not only do I empathise, having been through a very similar situation myself, but we're trying to actively support, through this interview and other ways, Mr. Snowden's plight. Back in October last year, I published a book called Cypherpunks, calling for exactly these sorts of actions in relation to the mass surveillance state that has developed in the United States and in the West more broadly, exactly what Mr. Snowden is doing. So it's very pleasing to see such concrete, simple proof presented before the public.
Will he end up on the run, though, like you are at the moment, avoiding prosecution from the US?
I beg your pardon, can you repeat?
Will he end up, though, in a similar position to you, do you think, at the end of the day, on the run, if you like, avoiding prosecution from the US?
Well, already we've seen that the Department of Justice in the United States has taken up the issue. There's been many calls for his prosecution. His family has been raided in Honolulu by police already. So, yes, he will be subject to prosecution by the United States for years. I am certain of that.
You've claimed to be in contact with Snowden lately. Can you tell us how recently that was, and can you tell us anything more about what he had to say to you?
Well, we never discuss sourcing issues. What we said is that we were in contact with Snowden's people in relation to the various support and advice we can give him.
You mentioned just now, and we've been reporting all day, that Washington is preparing to take action against Snowden. How do you justify, therefore, working with a fugitive, talking to a fugitive?
Well, I mean, Snowden's position is very, very interesting in Hong Kong. Right now, this week, we have a meeting between the Chinese President and President Obama in California discussing cyber war, amongst other matters. Now, while you would think at a naive level that would increase the Chinese support for Mr. Snowden in Hong Kong, and it may do under the surface, it is the nature of the Chinese in their geopolitics to not really make showy manoeuvres, and in fact to try and suppress those people who are seen to be dissenting and to offer fig leaves. So I would expect at the end of the round this week, the Chinese will promise their assistance to the United States in possible extradition of Mr. Snowden. China was the first country to censor WikiLeaks back in 2007. Their policies have varied a little bit since that time, but to this present day, the Great Firewall of China still tries to blockade WikiLeaks. They sent out censorship demands to censor the reportage of the WikiLeaks cables in China, not just about China, but about anything at all after the first day of reportage. We got hold of that request and published it. So we'll see what this new president of China is like, but certainly under the previous Politburo, the Chinese government is no friend of people blowing the whistle on corrupt practices, whether it's from someone else's government or from their own. So he's in a difficult position in Hong Kong. Perhaps he has a plan that we don't know about. I do hope so.
We heard a line today from Dmitry Peskov, President Putin's press secretary, that if Mr. Snowden wanted it, Russia may consider giving him shelter here. Do you think he'd ask for it?
I think he would be well advised to consider that offer. He would be advised to try and find a similar offer in South America. These are countries that, for South America, it's quite clear where they're ideologically aligned. They've had extensive experience with the United States and